The rain hammered mercilessly against the windows of Hawthorne Manor as Duke Adrian Blackthorne stood stiffly before the grand fireplace, his jaw clenched so tightly that a muscle twitched in his cheek. His eyes, sharp, storm blue, were fixed on the woman standing before him. Lady Amelia Hartwell clasped her trembling hands together, trying to appear calm despite the humiliation burning under her skin. Minutes earlier, she had overheard everything. "Unfit to be my wife," the Duke had declared coldly to his advisor. "Too common, too untamed, she was raised with no mother, no noble influence, no refinement." And now, caught in his presence, she waited for him to deny it, to say he hadn't meant it. But Adrian Blackthorne had always been a man of brutal honesty. "You heard me," he said quietly, "and I do not take back a single word." Her breath trembled. "Then why summon me at all, Your Grace?" "Because," he replied, turning away, "your father has forced my hand. An alliance must be made. Amelia felt the world sway. So you must marry me, but you do not want me." His voice was cold stone. "No, Lady Amelia, I do not." Amelia was married 3 days later. The wedding was beautiful roses winding up marble pillars, a choir singing hymns that floated like smoke through the cathedral. But beneath the beauty, silence lingered between the bride and her groom. Adrian did not look at her, did not speak to her, did not touch her hand even once. To the ton, he was the perfect Duke, aloof, powerful, untouchably handsome. To Amelia, he was a stranger with a heart locked behind iron walls. Their wedding carriage rattled toward Hawthorne Manor through autumn winds. "If you are to live as the Duchess," Adrian stated without emotion, "you will abide by the rules of this estate." "Of course," she replied softly, "I only ask. I did not ask what you want, Amelia." The words sliced. She pressed her trembling hands into her skirts, holding her dignity together by threads. He sighed, rubbing his temples. "You are not suited for this life, but I will uphold my duty." Duty. Not affection. Not desire. Not care. Only duty. She nodded, swallowing the hurt. She had entered this marriage with hope, now she had only resolve. The first month of marriage was a study in loneliness. Amelia dined alone, walked alone, sat at the end of a long dining table while Adrian read documents without sparing her a glance. Servants whispered behind gloved hands. The Duke never visits her chambers. He never speaks to her in public. A Duchess abandoned already. But Amelia refused to wilt. She managed the estate gardens, taught reading to local village children, and restored the crumbling West Library, which had been untouched since the death of Adrian's mother. Adrian noticed none of it. Or so she thought. It happened during one of the worst storms of the season. A messenger rode in bleeding and gasping. A bridge had collapsed. 2 children were stranded by the river. Amelia didn't hesitate. Without waiting for a servant, without waiting for her husband, she grabbed a cloak and rushed into the storm. Cold rain stabbed her skin, the wind howled like a living beast, but she kept going. By the time she reached the riverbank, the children were clinging to a half-submerged tree, the river foaming like a monster around them. "It's all right," Amelia shouted. "I'm here." She crawled across the slick, broken planks of the ruined bridge, inching toward them. Her hands bled, her cloak soaked, but she reached the frightened siblings and pulled them to safety. But as she turned back, the last plank snapped. She plunged. Cold swallowed her whole. For a moment, just darkness. Adrian arrived moments later. He had been in his study, ignoring dinner as always, when a breathless servant told him Amelia had run into the storm to save children alone. Something inside Adrian cracked. The Duke, who prided himself on control, tore through the storm like a man possessed, his horse lathered with sweat. And when he reached the river and did not see her, his heart stopped. "Amelia!" His voice ripped through the thunder. Then, movement, a pale hand struggling in the current. He didn't think, didn't breathe. He dove. His arms closed around her limp body, pulling her to shore as she shivered violently. "Amelia, open your eyes. Look at me, please." Her lashes fluttered. "Why, Your Grace." And something in his face broke wide open. "Adrian," he whispered hoarsely, "when it is just us, call me Adrian." She had never seen him look undone before. Never imagined the Duke could look afraid. The man behind the title. For 2 days, he did not leave her bedside. Not for meals. Not for meetings. Not even for sleep. He wiped her fevered brow, changed her cold compresses, whispered words he had never let himself speak. And on the night her fever finally broke, she woke to find him asleep in a chair beside her, his head resting near her arm, as if he had been holding vigil. She touched his hair gently. His eyes opened instantly. Their gazes locked, and something shifted between them. He sat up slowly. You could have died. I could not leave the children. Emilia, he whispered, voice cracking, why would you risk yourself so recklessly? Because someone had to, she murmured, because their lives mattered. Your life matters, he said fiercely, to me. She froze. Those were the first warm words he had ever spoken to her. That night, Adrian told her the truth. I judged you because I feared you, he admitted, pacing before the fireplace in her room. Feared me? She echoed. Yes, he said quietly, you are everything I am not. Warm, brave, unafraid of living, and I have spent years locked inside walls I built to protect myself. He raked a trembling hand through his hair. I told myself you were unfit to be my wife because it was easier than admitting the truth. What truth? He turned to her fully, his voice raw. That I was unfit to be your husband. Her breath caught. He moved closer, slowly, as if approaching a fragile thing. Emilia, he said, kneeling beside her bed, I see you now, all of you, and I was a fool, blind and stubborn and terrified of wanting someone as deeply as I want you. Her heartbeat thrummed like a drum. Adrian, tell me there is still a chance, he whispered, tell me I have not ruined everything. Her eyes softened. You saved my life. You saved mine first, he said. He reached for her hand, but hesitated, letting her choose. She placed her fingers in his. The first time she had ever touched him willingly. The next weeks were full of gentle beginnings. Adrian walked with her through the gardens she had restored. He helped her catalog books in the West Library. He accompanied her to the village school, where children adored him instantly, much to his embarrassment. They talked. Truly talked. He apologized, not once, but 100 times. She forgave, not once, but with every sunrise. And slowly, the walls he had built for years cracked and crumbled. One evening, as winter settled over the manor, they stood together on the balcony overlooking snow-blanketed grounds. Adrian took her hand. I have wronged you more than any man has the right to, he said quietly, but if you allow me, I would spend every day earning your forgiveness. Adrian. He took a breath that trembled. I do not want a marriage of duty anymore. I want a marriage of us. Her heart warmed like embers. And what do you want of us? He turned to her, eyes no longer cold, but full of emotion. I want to be the man who deserves you, the man who loves you, and yes, I do love you, Emilia, more than I ever believed I could love anyone. Tears filled her eyes, soft and shimmering. She cupped his cheek. Then you already are. Adrian pulled her into his arms, holding her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. As if she had always been. At last, love. Their kiss, slow, tender, full of apology and promise, sealed the beginning of a new chapter. The Duke who had once claimed she was unfit to be his wife now realized the truth. She was the only woman who had ever fit his heart. And Emilia, who once believed herself unwanted, now knew. She had always been exactly what he needed. The gardens were brighter than ever, roses blooming in every shade, vines draping like emerald ribbons. Laughter echoed across the manor grounds as Adrian swung a young village girl in the air, helping with the annual children's festival Emilia had started. Emilia watched him, rested her hand on her rounded belly, and smiled. How strange that the cold, distant Duke of Hawthorne had become the warmest part of her life. Adrian walked over, breathless and grinning. She wants more sweets, he murmured, nodding toward the little girl running off. And did you give them to her? Emilia asked. Of course not, he said, I gave her two. She laughed, full, bright, alive. He wrapped an arm around her waist. Emilia? Yes? I was wrong about you. Oh, she teased. In what way, Your Grace? He kissed her temple. You were never unfit to be my wife. No? He placed her hand over his heart. You were the only one who ever could be. And as snowflakes drifted like whispers from the sky, The Duke and his Duchess stood in the winter light, no longer bound by duty, but by a love that had reshaped them both forever.